Cantona. Gary Neville looking for his first goal for Manchester United, and what a time to get it!
Manchester United are winning games, but everything around the club feels like chaos. VAR drama, injuries, transfer talk already starting, and managers who still don't know if they have a job. So what's the truth right now? Are United actually building something, or are we just papering over cracks? How are we, guys? We've had a few internet issues with Newcastle. It's an absolute shock, and I don't know what's going on at Jordan's house. Usually it's India dropping out of electricity, but this time we've got Jordan. We don't always have we've got petrol problems, now NBN issues. How are we, guys? Are we doing all right?
I was better until I jumped on this podcast and had a really bad host. Other than that, I was doing great.
You know us. We like throwing you under bus. We got Dino here. He's probably ready to put you under the bus at a few times. He's already written waiting. Different. Yeah, something different. I might actually run the comments tonight up past you, Jordan. put him in the way of you.
Yeah, awesome. I won't be.
How you going, Tom? Tom caught up with Hinny the other day. Well done, champion.
Yeah,
caught up.
Yeah, that was great, and it's good to see her back with the team. Like, obviously, I'm assuming first class flight back to Manchester, and she's back there in a big game for the girls in a few hours. But that was really good, and congratulations to her for winning the Asian Cup. Always good to see a bit of Manchester United success down under, and that was really good. Always, like, whenever someone from Manchester United is out here, whether a present or former player, it's always good to sort of show them a little bit of time and give them a little bit of respect. And she was very appreciative of her supporters club scarf. She needed a translator for me to say that there's a gift, you could take it. So I think she wasn't quite sure, but really good. And just counting the days now. There's a lot of days until United return. That's all we can do at the moment.
Was she nice to talk to and deal with, Tom?
Yeah, no, she was good. Obviously, the English is very sort of limited sort of thing, but there was a translator who did help. And you could tell straight away when she saw the United shirt, United, and said, the girls won yesterday, because obviously there's a few hours after Man United, I think, we beat Everton in the Women's Super League, I think. And she'd obviously been notified about that. And really good. And obviously a very good player. I followed the women's team quite closely this year. And besides Jess Park, who's obviously player of the season, but both Manchester United number 8s are going to clearly win player of the season for United. But behind Jess Park, Miyazawa in midfielders has been brilliant for them. So always good to add a little bit to your Manchester United collection. So very lucky this week.
Yeah, mate. We caught up with them, like Johnny Wong and I. We caught up with the manager. We tried to catch up with her, but they whizzed her off the ground really quick. But we caught up with the manager. We got the pin tour and everything like that. Yeah. So it was really good. We always make an effort as a supporters club and as fans to make sure we catch up with United players when they, men and women, when they come to Australia. So it always feels good. But we'll probably get into Mbeumo not turning up a little bit later, because Jordan's really happy about that. I've got Dino in here already. How you been, Nick? How you been, mate? All right, before we get into the good mornings, good nights, how are you?
Yes, pretty good. The weather here is piping hot in Pune. We'll be missing United for the next 20 days, because that's when we are going to play with an extended amount of break. And pretty good up here. Summer is kicking in, just like Australia.
Summer is kicking in, yeah. Well, we're out of summer now, but it's still quite warm. So thank God, yeah. It gets hot on some building sites. Anyway, I've got Dino in the chat. He's going, I'm really looking forward to watching the Socceroos on Friday night. That's probably a little bit of a take to Jordan, because he's been an absolute bitch over the last few days about Mbeumo not turning up. I've got.
I was just really excited to watch how Socceroos handled Mbeumo, but it looks like we won't fucking find out, will we?
Take it easy, calm down, right? Don't get into it yet. I've got Pluck Off in on TikTok. He says, "Morning, gents," especially to Jordan. He says hello, and
how are you,
mate? Got a few people. We're getting live. I've already restricted on TikTok for harassment for some reason. So I've been restricted for 10 minutes. I don't know why. Bloody Pluck Off. He has to change his name. Must be because I said that.
Well, it's probably me from talking about Mbeumo already.
Yeah. Well, Xerxes, I got in trouble for doing a Xerxes post once because he goes around going like that. So, anyways, that was yeah. Anyway, let's get into it. Segment 1, the momentum versus the noise. Michael Carrick, he's winning games. United pushing for top 3. There's been a lot of VAR controversy over the past week, and I think people are still going on about it. And we never got together and spoke about the game. But what did you think about the game before we get on with it? Before we get on with talking about that VAR decision and how VAR's going in the game.
Get rid of it.
Anyway, get rid of it. I actually thought it was a pretty good game. I thought United were okay. I thought it would be a tough game purely because Bournemouth were on a run as well of 10 games unbeaten. United were the same. And I thought it was a pretty good game back and forth. And then the referee ruined it within, 15 minutes.
The reason I didn't mind it at the time, obviously frustrating, we'll get into the penalty decision in a little bit, but away from home, Bournemouth in good form, us, the way I definitely view football, we're due to drop points at some stage again as well. So take all that into consideration and looking ahead to the other fixtures that week, I was pretty confident one or two teams in and around us dropping points, and they all did. I think all 3 did. Villa, Liverpool and Chelsea, everyone dropped points. Maybe I'm wrong in that.
Not Villa. Chelsea, Liverpool and Newcastle.
Newcastle might have been it as well. So I was always confident at least 1 or 2 teams would potentially drop points behind us on that weekend. So obviously I needed that to happen. If they all won, it might have been a little bit more of a disappointing draw for United. But I thought given the circumstances, I was not pleased, but I'm relatively content given our situation. I think if it was off the back of 3 or 4 losses or 3 or 4 games without winning, it would be a disappointing draw. But look, we're not champions. We're not double winners. We're not treble winners. We're Manchester United, who were doom and gloom 3 months ago. So all in all, yeah, disappointing in regards to the referee decision. But I thought performance-wise and result-wise, it way in a tricky spot. I'll take it.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. Look, I think our fans are being harsh on United, like saying it was a poor first half and things like that. Look, we're still growing as a team. We'd be at the start of the season, we're worried about making top 8. Mate, we're sitting in 3rd position. We've got, I know we couldn't tell about the results that were happening on the weekend or anything like that. But United's just got to worry about himself, to be honest with you. And if we worry about ourselves, we're going to do well. And what do you think, Nick? You would have watched the game?
Yeah, I did watch the game. It was pretty late at night. But yeah, it was quite disappointing in terms of what we could have achieved. The way we were playing was really good. So a couple of last games that we had, the first 45 minutes we were struggling, but this particular game we were in control. Obviously, the referee did ruin the second half of the first 15 minutes by giving all these crap decisions. And we are not, as usual, not interrupting, intervening in the decisions that was not right. But all in all, I remember Yoni was saying that he is expecting to have 2-2 as a final scoreline, and that's what happened. But all in all, Bournemouth coming strong because of their past record, and we were very decent. So I'm okay just because other teams have lost and dropped the points, and then we are comfortably sitting in number 3, probably 6-7 points above Liverpool and Chelsea. So let's see a few games in future how it turns out, and hopefully we are not losing the momentum after 20 days of the break.
Yeah, I mean that was last time we had the big break. What was it? 13 days. The first half, it was Casemiro thought he was still on holidays. I actually don't think Casemiro's actually recovered from that 13 days because he has been a little bit off the ball. What do we have? 2 games since this break? I think it was only 2 games, and then we've gone on a break again. Mate, it's crazy to think how much time. Look, next year's going to be a better year, obviously, with Champions League or Europa League. I think we're going to quite comfortably make Champions League, and we're going to see a lot more games during the week and stuff like that. And I firmly believe everyone talks. I still remember at the start of the season when everyone was talking about United having big breaks and playing once a week. We'll be able to, work on things and everything like that. It's absolutely just flipped on its head. It's been the total opposite, hasn't it?
It's a worse thing for a big club. Maybe a sort of club, maybe fighting relegation sort of thing. Maybe they would benefit from just playing Premier League football and that one game a week. But for a big club with big wages, with big egos, with big personalities, with big expectations, you need to play your whole squad. You can't play 13, 14 players. You need to keep 23, 24, 25 players happy. And by that, you need games. And you can see if a player has 3 or 4 weeks off with not playing, then they come into a high-pressure situation and need to perform. They look a little bit rusty. I'm not saying that's specifically the case with Casemiro, but just that is the importance of having games. And look, let's hope it's not Europa League or let's hope it's not Conference League, but it's a hell of a lot better than no European football.
Oh, definitely, man. Definitely. Look, we need it as a club. And like you said, Tom, that big club thing, we always need to be in Europe. No matter what, we need to be in Europe. And as much as like over the past few years, we've been talking, yes, we've been back and forth from Europa League to Champions League. And we need to be Champions League. If we're going to keep talking about how big a club Manchester United is, we've got to be Champions League. And I honestly get sick of hearing about the Europa League doesn't matter and stuff like that. But you know what? We have still been winning trophies over the past few years and things like that. And it has been poor for us, obviously, this year. But in terms of cup games and stuff like that. But we really need to, as a big club, be in Champions League. Nick?
Yes, definitely. Like playing in Europe and especially having those extended run of games keeps our players in good shape. Just like Tom said, Casemiro returning after 13 days look lethargic, and I feel this international break won't have that much of a difference because Casemiro would be playing for Brazil, but United competing for bigger competitions like UCL or probably Europa League as well. Don't forget that Europa League has become more competitive. It's not like 8 to 10 years back that Europa League was considered as not that league and it was a Mickey Mouse trophy, but it is not like that. Much more teams are growing, being very competitive. Even the other leagues are getting more and more exposure in terms of the players, strength training and everything that is coming into the picture. United need that 60, 70 odd games where we can rotate the players, keep all these players in shape, and whenever it is needed to push, we can have that impact player coming in. Just because he has not played for an extended amount of game doesn't mean that he wouldn't be playing for that game. So yes, qualifying for Champions League or any European competition does matter for United, and we are very big, irrespective where we stand right now.
Definitely. Jordan, you're back in. Thank God.
Back in. Sorry, I had some internet issues. I don't know what's going on here.
Have you seen
you maybe wasn't the host?
We're just talking about the Bournemouth game and talking about United being available for Champions League and things like that. What are your thoughts?
Well, talking about the Bournemouth game, I don't know if anyone mentioned it on their penalty and Harry Maguire's red card, but what a touch by the Evan Nilsson, their striker, to go inside. He took that like a proper 9 should. That was world-class first touch, but if that is a penalty, I don't know if we've touched on it. How isn't ours a penalty?
Yep.
Just how? Like, they're the exact same thing.
Well, that's the discussion. And usually I wouldn't say, actually I might say I'm relatively proud, not often say this, relatively proud of our fan base this year when we drop points. I think back when we were successful, we drop points, I would blame the referee of everything. I would blame the referee if I was having a bad day at work sort of thing. But now this season when Man United lose games, we're not really blaming the referee, even if there is a bad decision. We're we're looking at other issues. We're looking at performance. I think that's quite sort of mature of where our fan base definitely has shown they've been in the past. But this one, when it happened, I completely shared everyone's frustration and everyone's sort of disagreement with the decision. But I thought, okay, drop points. Okay, well, where's the focus? I didn't really have that anger towards the referee until I went online after. And then I saw everyone was really fiercely agreeing with me and saying, no, hang on, this needs to be called out. And then I went back and looked at the whole situation and said, yeah, I was right. I should have been a little bit more angry with it. But I think it's good of the fan base to be sort of looking at performances, looking at managers and everything. But you're completely right, Jordan, in regards to, I have no issue with Harry Maguire getting sent off in that penalty. Yeah. But we, against Crystal Palace, I think it was, Cunha went in and pretty much dived, in my opinion. But you could see a situation where that Crystal Palace player player got sent off and where he obviously benefited from it. Harry Maguire gets sent off, penalty, no dramas. But Amad Diallo, that's penalty then. And then you're saying, well, if that is a penalty, well, you disallow the goal. And it's a hell of a different game then. So, look, I think it's good to look at Manchester United's performance and, okay, a little bit disappointing. On another day, that should be a quite comfortable victory if the referees do their job.
I've got a couple of fellas in TikTok. I've got anyone that's up there. I've got United Gabby. He's thrown a few prizes at us. Thanks, mate. Anyone's there, I'll pin him up there. You go. Everyone, give him a follow. And I've got who is it? RDR2 Goated. He said Atwell has cost us 34 points from every game he has refed us. Mate, I saw the stats. So I did the post on in 42 games, 24 games. Mate, 42 yellow cards, man, compared to the opposition, 8 yellow cards. Mate, it's an absolute fraud. It's a frigging disgrace, man. How does that even happen? And it was even in the same game where Carl Walker trod on Dorgu, and there was nothing in that. It's absolute bullshit. I remember it blew up straight after that.
One of I think the discussion points which has gone over a lot of people, I think Bruno Fernandes even mentioned it. And look, usually you don't get the players come out and sort of be so sort of upright and honest, but I thought Bruno Fernandes was right. I think the reason, which I'm pretty confident, the reason he doesn't give that Amad Diallo penalty is because he's already given us a penalty. He doesn't want to give Manchester United 2 penalties, and that is where a big club bias or unbiased, it depends what side of the fence you look at it from, comes into it. He knows the reaction of what it looks like giving Manchester United 2 penalties. They're 2 penalties, give them. But you know what the outcry is going to be. So that's almost, I think, lost in this debate, right or wrong decision. He's made his decision based on what he thinks the reaction will be, which is ultimately incompetence on his behalf.
It's funny you say that, Tom, because I was listening to a podcast and Alan Shearer and Gary Lineker were talking about it, and neither of them are Manchester United fans in the slightest. And they both came on and said, if you've given one, you have to give the other. And they don't think they gave the first one to United because Bournemouth went up and scored and we had a penalty previously.
If they went out for throwing or goal kick, it's penalty.
Yeah. Exactly, and they didn't want to then go and take away a goal to give a penalty and then have the crowd carry on the way it would have and the whole game to be like, oh, Manchester United have had 2 penalties, blah, blah, blah. So they thought, let's just let this go. And then all of a sudden their one's happened and they've gone, oh, fuck, now we've got a decision to make. And I just think if you give one, you can't, like, I have no problem with both of them being given, but if you don't give one, you can't give the other. Like, it's just as simple as that.
Yeah, but that changes the momentum, right? Like Amad Diallo's decision would have changed the entire momentum of the game. And you cannot have that level of inconsistency in the Premier League with the referees coming in and then giving a biased decision. Even I remember I was watching CBS. Thierry Henry happened to be saying the same thing. He was pretty discontent about the decisions, how referees trying to run the game, and it is based on their decisions. The game is ruined. Even he's not a United fan; he's an Arsenal legend. But seeing Henry coming up and then defending United, it does say that PGMOL has to intervene and then has to give that level of education to all these referees. It cannot happen in the game like that. When the table is closely, like narrowly moving up and down, the decisions like that does make a difference. It does take a toll on the mentality of the players and the team as well. So I'm happy Bruno Carrick coming up in the press conferences and expressing their discontent.
Well, imagine we miss out on top 4 or top 5 by 2 points now. Like, I don't know if you've touched on this before, but the money revenue just from the Champions League alone. And I'm not saying we will, but imagine if we did. In that game, you look at it and go, it was just incompetence that cost us, really.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I've got a few comments here, so we'll get to them. As a group, we're learning to pause and now get to the comments. Jordan's learning. We have discussions about this. We are slow learners, yeah. So we've got a couple here. I won't read that one off, Duno, yet. The difference is the ref gave one and didn't give the other. So VAR did nothing. If the ref gave both, VAR wouldn't have to change it. I've got Gabby in here. As long as it's a foul, should be given as a pen. We will. Jordan's just gone crazy with his microphone.
Was that me?
That was you, yeah.
I could hear it. But,
as long as it's a foul, should be given as a pen. We will rob once again, and rival fans are happy. I got RDR2 goated. I think I might just call him goated. We've had that level of inconsistency for years. It's nothing new. Definitely, man. Look, you get used to it. But look, generally, like when VAR wasn't around, everything would even out. But with VAR, it always seems to be picking on one or two clubs. And, you know, we're all calling Liverpool. I think it was a couple of years ago. Liverpool were getting all the VAR decisions. It was ridiculous. I just think, and it's not bias or anything like that, I just think United get robbed over it all the time. It's no difference to when I think it was Casemiro or something like that. He had like his knee offside, and there's that 30-centimeter play, and we didn't get that. That was a few weeks ago. Like, it's just absolutely ridiculous how we can't get those fine margin calls. It's just, that's what pisses me off the most. And like that one on Ahmed was just so fucking blatant. It was ridiculous. Like, you can't have two hands on a player, regardless where it is. It's on his shoulder. He's pulling back as well to beat the player and get the left foot shot off. He's had two arms on him, whether he's turned side on or nothing.
It's one of the elements of refereeing which does my head in. And look, I haven't read the rule book, so maybe the rule book, someone could prove me completely wrong. But I'm pretty confident in betting when it's describing a foul, whether that be a shirt pull, a trip, or a kick like that, it never says in the midfield or in the final third or in the penalty area. It's just the act of the foul. However, referees just officiate so differently. If Ahmed gets pushed over on halfway, no one blinks twice. Free kick.
Just about to say that, Tom.
You put it inside the box, and we suddenly have this huge debate. Oh, was it enough to give a penalty? Was it not? And I just think referees just referee the game completely different. Can you imagine the shirt pulling on corners? That was done on halfway.
Yeah.
Foul.
Oh, yeah.
But in front of the goalkeeper on the corner, hang on, we're not sure. Is that enough for a penalty? Well, it's a foul outside the box. And the moment you start giving penalties, it stops.
Yeah. Yeah. Saying that, like we're all talking about Harry Maguire getting sent off. Now, I'm sure the actual rule, and it hasn't been mentioned, the actual rule changed, I think it was last year. If they get a penalty, regardless if it's on goal or last line of defense, it's a yellow card and penalty because the penalty cancels out the red card, depending on the challenge.
My interpretation of it is if you go for the ball, and the interpretation was Harry Maguire, that wasn't an attempt at the ball. Okay. That's my interpretation of what it is.
Yeah.
If there's a genuine attempt to win the ball and it's a penalty, you stay on. If it's let's say professional foul sort of thing, which was deemed with Maguire, that's my interpretation. But I agree. Sometimes it leaves you baffled when you see something. Hang on, that was a red card. This is the yellow. What's the difference?
I agree. Look, if the rule is you got to go for the ball, then mate, he's off. I hold my hands up. He's definitely off. Like, he got ripped by that touch. That touch was so good. It was brilliant. And he wasn't even aware. He was totally in the wrong position to defend it in the first place. Like, it was off his left shoulder instead of being off his right shoulder instead of being directly behind him. I would actually love to see the frame just before that. I never really took notice. The frame before that, where he was actually standing, where he was actually talking to Yoro, where he should be or something like that, because it was like he switched off totally to that touch or even to that ball being fed into him. And credit to him. Credit to him. He did. Yeah. Credit to him after the game. He said he should have been. I personally, I actually thought Lemons probably had a good chance of saving that because it was a heavy touch. Even though it was a good touch into space, Lemons, if he's quick enough off his line, he can smother that, no problem. But then these days, the way the goalkeepers, they don't really smother a ball anymore like Peter Schmeichel used to be. He used to come over the ball, and now they just sit and put a knee up to try and block. So could have been 50-50. Yeah. Jordan, I thought you were about to say something.
Nah, I'm all right.
No.
I agree with everyone. I just Yeah, I just feel like I don't even want to talk about it anymore because I just think it's so inconsistent. I said, like, we're talking here about what should be given a penalty and what shouldn't. Okay, it's fucking should be just black and white. It's a foul. It's in the box. It's a penalty.
Well,
It should be
it's the
as simple as
frustration.
that.
It's what was sold to us with VAR that we wouldn't have to have these debates. However, since the introduction of it, it seems, I'm sure we'll have these debates back in the day, but it now seems they're more exaggerated. They're sort of more highlighted, these discussions, that it's because of VAR. And it's not so much, it's a wider debate. I don't want to get into it so completely. VAR is not the issue. The referees or the person in the VAR they're the issue, not the actual technology.
Yeah.
It's a bloke looking at the monitor.
So
But
until that's fixed.
Yeah, but
I've got a
saying
good question. Go, Nick. Go.
No, but
give me-
saying on this. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I've just got on Ticker. Gabby's just written here. I don't understand why it is so taboo to interview referees after the game and get their views. Would you guys like to see the referees interviews after the game? It's a very touch and go thing for me. Like, as much as referees do my head in, and Dean's actually seen me around referees and shit like that. So it is a very touch and go thing for me whether to interview a referee or not. I don't personally, if I look at it now, I don't think they need to think they need to interview referees. But if they're not going to interview referees, get rid of VAR. You know what I mean? I think interviewing referees and VAR goes together because they need to explain what is going on or what the process is in VAR going on there.
I don't know.
But if they get rid of VAR, I don't think they need to be interviewing them.
I don't know if you need to interview them so much. I think it's like they should have to release a statement after that game to say why one was given and one wasn't given, and
I think
what
the show
their
they do
reasoning for that.
on the show they do weekly on whether it be Premier TV or Sky Sports, and they get there's a Dermot Gallagher in there. He's just shocking. Or if they get Howard Webb in there, Premier League TV screen. Well, I would like to see interviews, but I completely understand why not. It opens up a can of worms, and it's probably going to cause more trouble than good. But I don't mind. Okay, a weekly show where the head of the referees or someone involved with the PGM comes in and explains some things, and not just explains things. At the moment, when you see these shows with Gallagher or Howard Webb, they're the best mates of the referees. They're mates. They're going in there to defend them, and I just think I like the idea of the show. If and you don't really get this on TV too much, you've just got honesty, and it's not honest television. It's not honest. You can see through, and that sort of leaves no point for the show. But if it was done properly, if you put fans in front of the show and held the referees accountable, say no, give us the proper reason, own up to the mistakes. Look, how many players do we criticise weekly? He's not good enough. Get rid of him. He's no good. Look at this mistake. We're killing the players. One or two decisions a week, we say, hey, the ref, you missed that one. Can you do better next week, please? I think the referees show that the bosses need to do a little bit better in regards to the way they communicate referees' performances.
Yeah, definitely. I think you make this point. You've made this point a few times, Tom. I've got Goated on here. He said it's like all this pushing and pulling in the box. You start giving penalties, and it all stops. I think, Tom, you made that point last time. I've got Dino makes a great point here. He said, do we ask players about their errors each game? Mate, if we did that, we'd be especially United, like turning balls over.
In a way, though, we don't ask them, but like they're heavily criticised for like you look at the League Cup final for Arsenal and Manchester City the other day, and that Kepa dropping the ball and Nico O'Reilly scoring. He has been ridiculed as a goalkeeper from that game.
Yeah, but he hasn't been ridiculed. It's not like they got him live on an interview and done that.
Exactly.
So,
there's got to be a flip to it as well. And I think Dean's next comment makes a good point. He says, we only want to interview them after errors. I think if referees do a good job, they should also be praised for the work that they do.
Well, the other flip side of it is, whether it be Kepa or anyone else, okay, you don't need the interview, but you get the result when they're not playing next week. They're held accountable. They're dropped. They don't play. Referees.
Correct, yeah.
You made a mistake against Burnley against Southampton. Here's the Manchester derby. Go have fun in that one. And I just think
you've been promoted.
I understand the shortage of referees, and I understand there's logistic issues with that, of course. But it just look, it's never ending debate, and it's just frustrating because the introduction of VAR was almost sold to the fans as, well, this will limit that, this will cut out so many mistakes, and it just feels, maybe it's the same back in the day, if it's a weight up decision, it just feels there's more and more mistakes creeping into the game.
Yeah, definitely. I've got Josh here on. Welcome to the pod, Josh. He's gone. How many UEFA referees get pulled up for blunder errors compared to Premier League every week? Jordan probably best to answer that, or even Tom. I don't watch much of the UEFA stuff, so UEFA referees, I don't really see their interviews, so I wouldn't know. But unless you've seen it, Jordan.
Same referees every week for them, isn't it? They just doesn't matter what mistake they make, they're still there.
It does feel from it. Look, I don't watch sort of European football religiously in regards to the domestic leagues, but especially when Champions League comes around, fans of these clubs that might have a completely different view and a more accurate view. But the way I view it, it seems, whether it be the right or wrong decision, it seems a lot more black and white and straightforward. We have one decision in the Premier League. We're getting a VAR truck involved. We're getting a fourth official involved, the linesman, referee, and they're debating for 7 minutes about what's happening. It just feels like, from my viewing of Champions League or Europa League or the Spanish League, they go to VAR or they have an issue. It's one replay and they move on. Now, maybe that's just the one or two I've seen, and maybe fans of those clubs would disagree. But it just feels like when you're watching the Premier League, it's a Hollywood show. It's a drama. It's just frustrating. And I think the Premier League kind of love it, though. Well, which is bad. I don't think they really want to put an end to it, because here we are, we're all tuning in. Probably their most sort of watch show probably is the referee show, when they get a referee in to explain the decisions. The most clicks they can get on interviews on their YouTube is Sky Sports, Gary Neville and Roy Keane discussing a penalty decision or something. So
they like
ultimately,
controversy.
Yeah, they love it. And if the TV companies love it, the Premier League will love it.
Yeah, definitely. I've got Josh. He's just written, my point being Premier League referees have way more inconsistency in their refereeing compared to UCL. I just think there's more pressure. I think there's so much more pressure in the Premier League regarding every single game. Like, every game, anyone can beat anyone. No, Jordan?
He makes a good point there. The reason the UCL is so much more consistent, though, is that games are so much slower paced. But the thing with the English game is it is so fast paced and so action packed. Every 30 seconds there's something happening. There's a talking point every minute of a game. You watch the UCL, and if you got, say, Inter Milan versus Atletico Madrid, they're both set up to try and not concede. So there's like heaps happening. And I think the refereeing in the UCL is a lot better. And I think the referees are a bit more on top of things. I think in the Premier League now, referees are almost, they know that they can't get it wrong on the field, because if there's a bad decision and VAR don't check it, they're let off the hook because VAR is going to be the one copping it. Like, we're all talking about VAR not picking up the penalty against Amad Diallo. The fucking referee was right there.
It's a double-edged sword with it, because VAR, it depends on what way you look at it, could provide, an argument is made, a bit of a security blanket to the referee. They can go out there knowing, okay, I can look at other things, because if I do make a mistake here, the referee will save me, and ultimately as a team, we'll get the correct decision ultimately. But then you also look at it from the other point of view, where the referee will be watching something going, God, is that a mistake or not? I'm going to humiliate in front of sort of millions of people that I've missed this, but I'm going to be corrected in front of everyone. So that adds a pressure in regards to, how did you miss that before? And it goes into, everyone here knows I'm back into my baseball, and the baseball season starts tomorrow. And what they've trialled in spring training, almost like the pre-season, and it's coming in tomorrow for real, is a challenge system for balls and strikes, automated balls and strike system, where a team will have 2 challenges a game to... It's pretty much like Hawkeye or VAR, where computes if it's a ball or a strike. And the other day I was watching a pre-season match, and the umpire is called it a ball. The player challenges it, and he's still on the microphone and says, okay, player's challenging the call on the field. And he's still got his microphone on, and he goes, fucking hell, please be a ball. And that translates that goes away to the crowd.
That's crazy.
because he knows he's still so scrutinised because he might have missed 4 or 5 in that game, and it's every decision is highlighted. Well, you missed that one, and so the VAR does provide a security blanket, but it also adds huge pressure.
I love that.
I think the refereeing, since we've had VAR, I think the refereeing's got poorer. Definitely. Yeah. It's so poor now, the refereeing. They don't know what to officiate on. They don't know what to let go. And they're just hoping VAR covers their ass. And it's become a disaster. Like the first thing I always talk about is referees having a feel for the game. And I think that's one of the biggest things referees don't have, especially in Australia. Referees, man, they have no feeling for the game. And my daughter was a referee. And the reason why I thought she was very good was because she still played football and she had a feel for the game. And obviously, like, my knowledge rubs onto her and everything like that. I think that is a big problem. I think in the future, I think ex-players should come in and referee or something like that. Something needs to change.
In the truck, there should be an ex-player, in my opinion.
100%, man. The ex-players got to get involved.
There was a moment.
Yeah, I feel.
Sorry, you go, Nick.
Yeah. I think. No. Most of the points were covered by Tom and Jordan. But coming back to the VAR, I don't think so. Because of VAR, this refereeing issue is coming into the picture. It is just because the education that these guys are lacking. You know what? Instead of VAR, there should be an alternate system like DRS that is then common in cricket, or probably player referral system in hockey. Like each team gets 3 reviews to be taken. If they feel like, say, for example, especially consider the fact that we had that Amad Diallo thing and then that turning out to be the goal for Bournemouth. If at all, once the ball gets stopped there, United should have this kind of what I can say, an exception to take a call where the team is reviewing that decision. And if the decision falls into that in their favor, then the goal should be disallowed and the penalty should have been given. So something like that.
Look, I agree. And I'm all for discussion like that and finding the way, as said, baseball sort of bringing it as well. But let's say, okay, let's review the AMAD decision. Okay, Manchester United have that challenge. We review it. It's still the referees making the decision. They're still looking at it and saying no.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I said. At this point, I said that education is pretty much important. Like, referees should be given education.
Players to get a decision, to get 3 decisions or something like that. I wouldn't want it.
Like an appeal.
The game is slow enough as it is. Imagine Arsenal getting 3 challenges. They take long enough taking a corner or just knocking it around just so people can just bludge on things. You imagine that? Like, we have not, since the World Cup, the last World Cup, we had a World Cup where we had 12 minutes injury time, 15 minutes injury time. Mate, United at half-time, it was bad enough we had 9 minutes. There's no way in the world I'd ever agree to. The game's slow enough. If you watch Gary Neville's last one with the boys, Wayne Rooney's going, the game's been ruined by too many rules. And I totally agree. There's too many rules coming across the game these days.
What was he saying?
There's no flow to any game.
Go out there and play against each other and just see who fucking wins.
There's no flow to any game anymore. There's just stop, start, this decision. Anything that's in the box, like the pushing, the shoving. Your goalkeeper's trying to bludge referees for a free kick if there's a push on him. I still remember David De Gea tried that once and they gave the goal. You know what I mean? It was the shittest dive I've ever seen from a goalkeeper. You can't keep slowing down this game.
If you look at that, and on that point, Adam, and what Jordan mentions there in regards to Wayne Rooney's, when Wayne Rooney was talking about it, all of us here have agreed we're talking about there's too many rules, it's slowing down the game. I actually don't think there's been too many more rules introduced. It's the way the rules are being managed. But it's still the same game. It's just the way that it feels like there's more rules. It's still the same game. Okay, maybe also 1 or 2 specifics have changed, obviously. But, I don't know. Look, Nick has said it there in regards to education. Adam said in regards to ex-players. Look, we all have the answer. Who knows what's going to happen? We're all going to be proven right and wrong in some elements of it. But ultimately, it's just frustrating. When the technology is there and you're consistently seeing inconsistency, is just...
Then there's no point of having the technology. then I feel there's no point.
Yeah,
of having
exactly. That's my point. I was about to say that, Nick. There's
And
no
There's
that's
point.
only,
simple as
they only need two things in football, and it's just automated offsides. Should be as simple as that. Should be done like that. And goal line technology. The rest, get rid of it.
Since
On
the goal line
weekend, I went
technology's come
to-
in, I think there's only been one. There was the first game post-COVID. I think there was an issue with the technology, and actually, it ultimately proved very costly. It sort of resulted potentially in a relegation. I think it was for Sheffield United. Other than that, goal line technology has been, whether
it's
we
quick.
agree, it's been perfect straight away. Hasn't slowed the game down. If anything, it's probably sped it up.
There was a
But
moment
Adam,
on the weekend I went to Sydney FC versus Newcastle, right? And not to talk about the A-League on here again, but Sydney FC had a penalty awarded, and it took them 7 minutes. I was sitting in the crowd, 7 minutes to figure out it was offside.
Yeah.
No one checked it for offside until the very last thing, and they go, "Oh, it was actually offside." 7 minutes.
It's
The
crazy.
players were fucking nearly going for runs on the sideline to keep warm.
I got Josh on here. You're talking about the automated offside. So he was saying, is it the Bundesliga that's got the automated offside? I've never seen that. How's that work? The automated offside. What is it? Got a camera?
The Premier League has access to it. The Premier League can use it. They've just some legal agreement or some licensing agreement
They've got the semi-automated.
But they've chosen not
but
to
the
use it.
Bundesliga are testing it. Like it's not. From what I've seen in the Bundesliga, though, it's like instant. Like instantly he's offside. Like it's like a link to the watch, and the referee goes, "Okay, he's offside." They pull it up, and it's just a straight line.
With offside as well, though, it becomes such a. And again, it's a wider debate. I will sort of revert it back to Manchester United soon, but okay, well, we're talking about that happening, and okay, team Manchester United playing Tottenham. Is that going to affect Tottenham going down into the Championship? What about the team in the Championship who their ground doesn't have access to that technology? Their game is just as important in regards to being promoted to the Premier League. And I just think, and look, man, the FA Cup has that issue with goal line technology in some grounds as well. So it's always going to be an issue which you're never really going to completely solve. But where do you draw the line? Is it in the Championship? Is it in League One? Or is it just in the Premier League? And what game is more important, the top of the table clash in the Championship or the bottom of the table clash in the Premier League? Well, in theory, they're the same match. So, just frustrating. Frustrating.
I've got Goated in here, and he's gone, bring back the chaos of Wimbledon football in the 80s and 90s. Can you imagine it? And then I've got Gabby down the bottom here. He's gone, where is it? Bring that chaos back, and he's gone. Yeah, Martinez and Casemiro will be kicking opposition players every match, but that's if Martinez can stay on the pitch. Like it's just there's so many things you can talk about. It's with referees.
Well, I don't know. I don't think get rid of all of it.
There's still that human element in there.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
We say get rid of this, Jordan.
Yeah, I don't get rid of all of it.
I agree. However,
like,
it's gone too far now because we've had a taste of it. You can't because now it goes through and there's a bad decision. We're saying we've got the technology, use it. It's got to the stage now where it's in. You can't get rid of it, even though a lot of us would agree. Get rid of it. It's just gone too far. Now it's part of the game. How do we improve the management of it?
Yeah, but Tom, can you imagine like if that was the last game of the table of the Premier League, and if that decision would have impacted a Champions League spot, don't you think that would have cost a loss? Like just imagine, like we need 3 points to win, and then just qualify for the Champions League, and then we don't have the team review. Just that's the same thing that I was explaining. Just because VAR is not intervening, or just because of the incompetency that the referee is having, we would have lost that UCL spot if this is the case. Or either have the technology, and if you're having the technology, you need to upscale it, like use it thoroughly. Just because the referee is not doing or taking that decision doesn't mean that you cannot use the technology.
I've got Dino here. Dino's made a good one just here. Name one sport that technology works. It works good in tennis.
Tennis is just about to say tennis.
It works for cricket as well. It works for cricket as well.
It works well. Yeah.
He should be the one not be questioning that because he follows cricket. I can certainly understand.
Yeah, he loves cricket, Dino. He loves
exactly.
it.
My biggest thing with VAR, right, we haven't even touched on it, is when they slow it down into slow motion and go, oh, that looks bad. Mate, because you're looking at a picture. Look at it in full motion.
It's not even the slow motion. If you watch, sometimes it depends on what the ground and depends how big it is and what camera angle they have and sort of what the decision is. But not even the slow motion element of it. Sometimes when the referee is jogging over it, let's say it's a tackle, he's given a yellow card, but the VAR say, come have a look, it could be dangerous play. When the referee's going over to the screen, it's actually paused sometimes on the actual screenshot of the actual moment of impact. Which just subconsciously, the referee's going across and go, oh, hang on, he's got him here, sort of thing. Yeah. And that can change at one's influence. Look, that's another element of it, of course. But, yeah, ultimately, referees, I'll not put my hand up to referee.
Duno's got one here about cricket. He goes, cricket doesn't work. The ball can be hitting the wicket and it's still not out because half the ball has hit the wicket.
But it is much more effective. It is much more effective. You have team having into the power.
Oh, watches it. It's fucking boring.
No, hang on. Australia has won much more World Cup. You shouldn't be complaining about it.
There's a bit of banter here because Jordan must be on watching the YouTube comments as well. And Dino put a comment here about Sydney FC. Are we talking about Sydney FC again? It should be another fine system for Sydney FC for Jordan. Fair dinkum. Mate. All right, let's move on from referees and stuff like that. I want to move on to a bit of transfer talk. We've got like major midfielders. We're looking at Tonali, Gamirez, Wharton, and Anderson. Who are we looking? You boys, who do you prefer out of those four? Because we're going to go in for one of them. I'm hearing Tonali, Newcastle don't want to let him go and everything like that. So he's going to have to beg his way out of the club. He's still got, I think, a year or so to go on his contract, and they don't want him to go anywhere. And that's for both of them, I would say. Gamirez is their captain. So what are your thoughts on those, boys? Are we going to go for Wharton or Anderson or the other two?
Newcastle aren't going to probably play European football, so do you think they have to sell one of their big hitters?
I think both those players as well, and just you're putting two and two together. If given the opportunity, they've been at Newcastle for a while now, both of them. If given the opportunity to go, I think one's Italian, one's Brazilian. I don't think they're too. I know Newcastle fans think Newcastle is their new home in regards to that, but I think they'll be pretty happy to potentially move on to a bigger club. And those four names do seem now there's always going to be a curveball thrown in there, and we're going to sign someone in the last week of August who's definitely not in this discussion now. But those four players do seem the targets. They definitely do seem they make sense. They're all sort of gettable, you would think, and Manchester City will be after them. Arsenal will be after them. If Manchester United want to dine at that table, Manchester United should be after them as well. I'm happy with either. I think the Newcastle duo, if I had a preference, I would lean towards one of them. Take your pick. Maybe I think Bruno G is probably a little bit more suited to maybe what Man United need now. If Kobe Mainoo is going to be signing that new contract, but I definitely wouldn't be saying no to Tonali. What I would say in regards to whether it be those two or anyone else, our big midfield signing, if we want to do whatever we want to do next season, is that win a Premier League title? Is that really challenging it and start winning trophies again or the Champions League? I think that midfield signing, whether it be a Casemiro replacement or just the top signing in midfield, for us to be successful next year, that almost needs, just the feel I have, that needs to be like the signing of the season. If Bruno Fernandes does what he does and Šeško improves sort of thing, and Mbeumo and Cunha do what they do, and Lamens, I have confidence there. And the back four is relatively strong, and maybe a little bit of improvement needed in our back four. But I do think how many years, it's been over a decade, we've been discussing recruitment in midfield. We've never really got it right. I think if Man United, to make that next step, if we go sign a player for £100 million in midfield or £80 million in midfield, for us to be where we want to be, they need to perform like a £100 million player in midfield when they arrive. So that is, I would be leaning towards the Newcastle duo, but yeah, fingers crossed. Well, one of them comes. We could be having a discussion about a different name in a few weeks, but if I had my choice, just how much Newcastle fans love Bruno Guimaraes, I'll just love the meltdown because I know how much it would piss them off seeing him in a red shirt. So that is probably where I'll be leaning at the moment.
Love it.
I got Dino here. Dino's going to start copping fines as well for talking about Chris Wood every podcast. So
Then I'll have to watch him in the championship next year when they go down.
Yeah, and Dino's got here Levamento, Lewis Hall, Bruno Tonali. Everyone will be chasing those four. It'll be an interesting summer. Look, everyone, Manchester United need to step up here. They need to. We're now in the top three. They need to put their foot down and show that we are the dominant club in England again. And we need to move forward with this. We need to move forward as a club and get our dominance back into bringing players back into the club. We can't just keep relying on our history and everything like that. We need to start making good deals. We've been lucky enough with Mbeumo and Cunha and Le Mans. We've made some good deals over the past year or so. So hopefully we can keep that momentum going and we can bring, I don't know, do you think we usually bring 4 players in, don't we, in the summer? We usually bring 4. So hopefully it goes that way.
I'd take Lewis Hall in a heartbeat. I think he's going to be so good in the next few years at left back. I think he's just got everything to be a perfect ball playing sided defender, really.
On that, Jordan, if given the choice, and obviously playing I'm a football manager here, but also the reality that Newcastle aren't going to sell 2 players to Man. Now, it could happen, but you would think they're not going to sell 2 big assets to Manchester United. If they have to sell, one will go to City, one will go to Arsenal, one will go to United. Definitely not 2 of the same club. Lewis Hall or central midfield?
Oh, you're giving me either one of the 2 in the midfield.
Yeah, that's right. Because I think Lewis Hall could potentially, weirdly, cost just as much as one of the midfielders.
Oh, yeah.
And I think
I actually see
midfield.
I see Arsenal probably going in for Lewis Hall. I see him and that Lewis Miles Skelly as their 2 left backs for the next 5-6 years. But yeah, I like Tonali a lot, but I also liked him at AC Milan before he came to Newcastle. But Bruno G can just run, man. He could just be a dog in that midfield. And is that not what we kind of need next to Manu?
I think Bruno G kind of looks, just my viewing of him and my recollections of watching performances, if you to replace Casemiro, I don't know it's an easy comparison in regards to Brazilian, but area of the pitch, similar sort of traits is probably my opinion. Out of those names, Anderson, Tonali, Wharton, Bruno, the closest to Casemiro. And if we want to continue on this train, which we're doing under Carrick, it's a seamless replacement. I'm not saying he's sort of Casemiro 2.0. I just think he's more similar in that area of the pitch in terms of what he brings.
I see Man City going and dropping 100, 110 million on Elliot Anderson. I see them picking him up. Yeah.
See, there are a lot of factors that would impact United transfers this season. First of all, we need to be sure who will be the manager. So that is something that I've raised in the last podcast as well. A player would be attracted to to the project first, and secondly, what manager would bring in. So if you have Luis Enrique coming into the picture, probably the targets would change a little bit. Not exactly because we have the entire football structure set up. And secondly, if you're talking about Newcastle's midfielder who is going to leave, the timing matters the most because both Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes, their agents will be pushing their players to move out. And whoever leaves first would impact the other transfers. Say, for example, Guimaraes leaves for United or for other club, then Tonali's transfer would be in jeopardy. And that goes vice versa for in the same situation. But I feel Tonali would be an ideal midfielder considering his age, his tenacity that brings into the game, and especially I feel the only thing that that would be a concerning factor is his long-term contract that he has signed that runs down till 2029. That's the catch-22. For Bruno Guimaraes, I'm not willing to pay. So if the asking price is about 80 million or 70, 80 million, it's quite huge. Knowing the fact that he'll be turning 29 this year, I feel 50 million, same like Bryan Mbeumo, price tag would lure United to buy him. But anything more than that, it's a gamble. Do you really want to pay 80 million odd for Bruno Guimaraes? I know he's
I
at
think
his peak.
it's weird, and obviously I'm not a financial expert, and you look at and you hear all the reporting around Manchester United and the books and the debt and everything, and it's not pretty viewing sort of thing. But you go look at what Liverpool spent this year, 400 something million. They might not make the Champions League. The game it's changed. I don't know the idea of we've got to now spend $2 billion on a new stadium. We're still owed hundreds of millions in unpaid transfer fees. Manchester United want to be successful next season. Don't have to go spend money. And Dino mentioned it earlier in the chat. We're talking about, okay, would you take Tonali? Would you take Wharton? Would you take Bruno G? We probably need to bring in 2 or 3. We probably need, if we want to be a proper team next year, you're losing Casemiro, you hopefully, with all due respect, lose Agate. You've got to need 3 midfielders. And, okay, we
have to
want to
lose
spend it. Is the discussion 80 million on this player, or should we say 200 million on central midfield, where that be 2 players?
I think you need a big boy in there. I think you have to have a big boy replacement come in that's going to blow a bit of the budget. Like I think they're in a position where they're going to either go, we're doing a project for the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to try and build someone up, like get an Adam Wharton and just say, stick with him and Cobby in the midfield, which I don't think would work personally.
No.
I think they'd just get run past every game.
What gives me hope, though, on that, Jordan, sorry to interrupt, on that same track, I just think, and this will sound like sour grapes, Arsenal are about to win the league. Arsenal are shit. We battered them twice this season. We beat them at the Emirates with Cunha's gone. The first game of the season, if we had a competent goalkeeper in there, that's a fantastic performance, and we wipe the floor with them. They're no good. Now, I'm not saying Manchester are going to go win the title next season, because we know the feeling of how far away we are in terms of how bad we've been. But since Michael Carrick has come in, small sample size albeit, we've been the best team in the country. If we can get this transfer window right, we play Arsenal first game of the season next year. Say circumstances, but who's the better team? I'd be very confident Man United are going to win that match. Are we better than the champions? Well, that result says yes. Therefore, we will be the champions. So I think there is a feeling or a motivation that, go sort of build for the future, which I'm all for. But there is also an element looking at how weak the league is. Okay, go win the league. Go spend what it takes.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I was going to say, like, we can go and get an Adam Wharton build for 2 years or 3 years, but I think I can go for it. Like, every team's kind of deflated at the moment in terms of they're all kind of rebuilding, and Arsenal are at that peak that they're at now. But Manchester City have just gone and bought Tijani Reinders. Nico O'Reilly's probably been the best player in the second half of this season. Like Marmouche, like they got all players that are still not playing the best of their ability. Chelsea they buy every young winger in the world every transfer window, even though they're not going to buy anyone for a while now. And then Liverpool, they're losing Salah at the end of the year. They're going to have to try and rebuild. They're going to get Isaac back fit, trying to play for him. Their fullbacks are struggling. Like you can get at this league right now, you really can.
You mentioned sort of go for it, and Nick mentioned it earlier in regards to the specific name, and he's the one that I'm starting to gravitate towards just in regards to the appeal of the Premier League. I don't think it's going to happen, but if I was to move on from Michael Carrick, and Adam, and give your 2 cents in regards to your opinion, we're talking about going for it. Go spend 200 million on this midfield. Go spend 100 million on this player. Is the elephant in the room going for it? The man on the thumbnail, Michael Carrick, is the biggest transfer going and getting the best available manager, whoever that may be. Obviously, the eyes do look towards Luis Enrique at the moment. If you can get him in and that attracts 1 or 2 more players, is that almost the number one transfer signing?
It's the most, I don't know what the word would be. It's the prettiest job in world football right now. Manchester
my thing with
is the prettiest job in the football.
My thing with it is I'm happy to have Carrick as the manager. But my problem with Carrick, has he got enough experience to manage Manchester United in Europe? That's the problem I have with it. But then is Enrique good enough to come into the Premier League? So we're a bit of a catch-22. It's a massive decision for the club. And as much as we can sit here and say, yep, Carrick's got to stay. He's won 8 games or undefeated in 8 games, and we've had 1 loss, whatever it is. He hasn't got experience in Europe. He simply doesn't. And whether he's played in Europe, it's a totally different to managing a team and rotating players and things like that. You've got to next year we've got to do FA Cup, Carabao Cup. We've got Champions League, hopefully. You know what I mean? That's a lot of pressure on him. And I mean, the only way he's going to learn is by doing it. But we need someone behind him as much as we've got, what's his assistant's name?
Steve Holland.
Yeah, Holland. He has been around that Champions League area and it probably manages as well. But I think we probably need someone extra in that management team that's got a real lot more experience playing in Europe. I think that's our biggest problem at the moment. And a lot of people want Carrick. But for me, I'm still on the fence. I need someone there that can manage through Europe. And Enrique's probably that guy. But what worries me, does he keep Carrick with him on his team? Just like Ammer, he flicked off our Van Nistelrooy. You know what I mean? You've got to have someone in there that's flexible.
Look, I agree, and I always bring this point up in regards to when I have these discussions. Football manager, and whenever I take over Man United and football manager, I don't go get the best assistant manager. I'll go get a player, next Man United player who I like, and I make him my assistant. I like to just in my mind keeping that Manchester United element in and around it. So yeah, in theory, okay, let's bring in Lewis Enrique. Yes, keep Michael Carrick. Bring in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Managers who have managed, it's a demotion for them. We sit here say Michael Carrick doesn't have an ego. They do have an ego. Suddenly you're not the boss. You're being told what to do. Managers just, I agree, put Michael Carrick as the assistant. I think someone who's managed Manchester United or managed clubs doesn't go into the assistant role. I'm not sure there. I'm sure there has been someone done that, but I can't think of at the top level who's.
I don't think Lewis Enrique comes in and doesn't bring his whole entourage of coaches.
I think it's important to keep people around, especially at a club like Manchester. And I do think it's important to keep someone there.
Same.
But yeah, you're right in regards to a big manager comes in, he brings his team in, and there's good in that, but there's also potential pitfalls.
I've got Deck in the chat here. Welcome, Deck. How you been, mate? He's gone, United have broken every experienced manager that has come into the club. And I've got Gabby, if he's got us into the UCL, if United ain't bringing in Enrique, just stick to Carrick. Yeah, it's big decisions. United got some really big decisions to make in the summer. And I'll tell you what, it's going to make some really interesting pods, that's for sure.
Yeah, for the first time in a while, though, the job of managing Manchester United is probably at its best it could be at. Like, we've gone through and you look at the signings that they've made this season alone, they've nearly all been successes, if not all of them, right? So you've now got a shift where the dead wood isn't so big, as people would say. Like, there's not that much of a clearance of players that you have to get rid of to bring your players in. Whereas when you say people are going, oh, we've done the experienced managers, they've all come into squads that they probably don't want. They've come into a team that's sitting 7th, 8th, possibly 6th in the ladder. We're currently 3rd against probably one of the weakest Premier Leagues there's been in a while. Like, you haven't got Man City getting 90-plus points, Liverpool getting 90-plus points. Like, you haven't got those at the moment. You've got Arsenal and City at the top two, and neither team are very... You wouldn't sit there and go 100% they're going to win every game for the rest of the season. So if you're going to bring an experienced manager in, now is like probably the best time we could do it if they were to go that route. Like, I'm not saying they will, but I just think it's the most advertising job in world football currently right now. Is to, because you're so close to bringing. If you come in and you get top 2 next season and a trophy, and then you're pushing for the league again the following year, you're going to be treated like a god. Like, and if you're the manager to bring the Premier League with them again, like, you'll be treated like an absolute god.
It's why we sit here and say, and a lot of people, a lot of rivals, and they'll probably rightfully say, why would Luis Enrique leave PSG to join Manchester United? It's just there. Whether Manchester United finish in 15th, 16th in the Premier League, if you can be that manager who wins it, you'll get a statue. The other two managers that win the league, Cement Busby, Alex Ferguson, have statues. You'll get a statue if you win the Premier League trophy. It's just a prerequisite. That appeal, no matter what situation, and especially Jordan, you mentioned we're in a good position. That's not usually where we are when we're chasing a manager. Usually we're getting a manager when we're in a bad position. That's why we're getting a new manager. But this was a little bit different. And that appeal, look, I'm starting to think, look, a better man would say, no, Luis Enrique won't join. Too many moving parts, maybe not the right time. It was a year or two later, maybe. Maybe it's a little bit of hope, and maybe if we start losing a few games and I'll have a bad feeling around United, I'll think no. But the feel-good factor at the moment, it's a little bit of hope that, and look, I want to see Carrick rewarded. I do like to see Michael Carrick as the Manchester United manager, but yeah, I'm starting to lean towards let's start looking at Luis Enrique.
Well, the squad
I've got here 2 seconds, Jordan. I've got here from Top Us Cactus. He's got here. Why would you put yourself back 2 years getting Enrique in? I don't really understand. I don't watch much of Enrique.
I think he means style and stuff in terms of players that we'll have in the club.
Yep.
So I was thinking, do you go back 2 years and try and build a squad with Enrique? Enrique's not brought in to build squads. He's brought in to win things. He's a serial winner. If you bring in Conte, you're bringing him in for 3 seasons to win 2 league titles, and he's going. That's what they are. And the squad we've got now is probably as closest to what he's going to get if he was to manage any other club around the world, to be honest, that he's got at PSG. Yeah. Other than we don't have that striker player like Ousmane Dembele. Every other position, we're quite similar except for our fullbacks, which we hope to replace.
I've got Jordan. Dino here. He's gone. Ruben cleaned the house and should always be remembered for that. 100%, man. He turned things around big time for us. I've got one here from Gabby here. Refusal to offer Carrick the job just to appoint De Zerbi, Alonso, or Nagelsmann is rinse and repeat.
Sounds like he could potentially be off to, and who knows, I think it would be ludicrous for them to announce it now, unless he's got some type of clause in the relegation clause. But it looks like De Zerbi's relatively close to Spurs. I just think if he was to take over now and they got relegated, surely that's he's got a break in his contract where he could get out for De Zerbi to take over now. And if he goes down, they can't. It would have to be an interim basis. But,
you would never want to take that job right now, though, would you? It doesn't matter who you are, because what's the best outcome? You come 17th. You keep him in the league. That's your best outcome, and you still have on your record you finish the season 17th with Tottenham. As much as you can't go into the details, I'd just stay far away from that. I don't want any of them. I wouldn't mind Nagelsmann. Don't think he's a young manager. I don't.
But I feel getting Nagelsmann, it's quite tricky. We had our chance with Ruben, tactical manager coming into the picture and then driving the force in United, but that didn't work. United's entire philosophy works on a different ball game. I don't think so. Nagelsmann would fit into. I think Luis Enrique, just like you said, like if you want to win the league or win the trophies, yes, we have to put a bet on. We have to put a bet on Luis Enrique. But that being said, I think Carrick. I feel, considering all the factors, Carrick would be the guy who would be leading United in the next season, irrespective of how the European Champions League is turning up. I don't think so. Any manager would put their case into jeopardy in terms of managing United. It's a suicidal job. It's the world's hardest job you can ever have to manage a club like a size like club like United.
Yeah. Look, boys, we're an hour and 10 minutes in. I think we might just. I just want to touch on to the women before we call it. The women have got Champions League at 7 a.m. here. Not sure what time it is in the UK. They're playing in their quarterfinal against Bayern Munich. And they have got a few injuries. We all know Ella Toon's still out. Anna Sonsberg's out. Is it Rofflo? She could picked up a knock, but she should be in, no problem. And Riviere's been a bit sick as well. So good luck to the girls. You know what? I just did a reel before we came on about Manchester United with all this time off, I think they got 3 weeks off. All their games, they got a derby coming up, everything like that. Manchester United supporters need to back the girls, get behind them, watch their games, get out to they're playing at Old Trafford, which is fantastic. They'll be playing the other games at Leah Sport or away. It's their time to shine over the next 3 weeks. So Manchester United fans really need to focus on the women, and because they need to get into that Champions League spot for next year as well. And good luck to them, man. Far out. It's been a long season for them because they haven't got much depth. And they've really been playing well. So, Tom, you're up on the women all the time. What are your thoughts on the game, mate?
Yeah, well, this whole discussion we've had over the last hour has been Champions League football at Old Trafford.
Yeah,
they're the one team who's been able to provide that for us at the moment. So it's good they've been sort of rewarded. I know a lot of the women's fans sort of prefer to play at League Sports with a little bit better of an atmosphere if you can fill that ground compared to getting the same crowd at Old Trafford. But I still think the players, in terms of the opportunity to play at Old Trafford, is there. And look, from all reports, Bayern Munich obviously a different beast in regards to European football. It's going to be an uphill battle for the girls, of course, but European football, knockout football, anything can happen. And if Man United are on it, they've definitely got the players. I urge everyone. I'm all over this year. This Jess Park, watch her play. She's absolutely brilliant. She's brilliant to watch. And if you've got a player like that on the field, if you can keep it tight and sort of not give up too many chances, you've got a chance, especially at home. So if Man United can get a result or even a win and take that to the second leg, fingers crossed, because as I said, this whole discussion over the last hour has been about Manchester United and Champions League football. Okay, and now the discussion is obviously in the last couple of years, we've added another element to that in regards to the women's team. But ultimately, it's always going to be a part of Manchester United's history, and fingers crossed they can go one step closer.
Mate, people are forgetting too. This is their first season in the Champions League as well.
Yeah.
First season, and look how far they've got, man. It's crazy. It's a pity Ella Toon's out with that hip injury, and they could well and truly do with her tonight. But you know what? You've got to play with what's ahead of you, and good luck to the women, mate. I think they'll do all right at Old Trafford. I think they'll definitely. They've been actually. It's good that Hinney's back in the team for them in the midfield because they've been missing her over the past few weeks since she's been away. And
at the start of the season, they beat PSG at Old Trafford in the group stage of the Champions League. So maybe a good hunting ground for them. But, yeah, you're right, especially obviously that Australian connection the last couple of days. Mia Zhao was back, and, yeah, they definitely do need to keep the ball as much as they can if they're going to be up against it, against Bayern Munich.
And we'll just quickly touch on Jordan with Mbeumo. Mbeumo's not coming. He was the poster boy. We sort of avoided that for a little bit, but I've just remembered Jordan is Nick, I tell you what, everyone was going to be on the hunt for Mbeumo. We had the hotel. We had, when they were flying in, we had everything ready to roll, and we're going to roll it out to everyone. But Mbeumo's decided to stay, get a massage or whatever.
Bought a jersey with him on the back right there, sitting right there.
I know, Tom, you were about to go and buy one.
Yeah. I was lucky.
He can fuck off. Well and truly. Sit there and be the poster boy for it, and then go last minute. Nah. And
Jordan didn't believe me because I got a bit of inside info on it that he wasn't covered, and he didn't believe me.
Man.
Sure enough, when I woke up, the news was out.
In saying that, look, Jordan, I share your frustration, Jordan, in regards to, look, I love it as any Manchester United representation in Australia. However, save me $100 for a shirt. Saves me a trip to Olympic Park on Friday night to watch the Socceroos, and then Mbeumo gets a bit of a rest before the Premier League returns. Ultimately, if I'm looking at it, it's probably a good thing. Ultimately,
you're missing my issue. I've spent the $100 on the shirt. I bought the match ticket. I bought the cards, and he's not fucking here.
But you're going to the UK in a few weeks, so you might be lucky enough to catch up with him.
He can fuck off. Don't want anything to do with him. He had his chance. Come and go and represent your country in a series in Australia. Come and meet all the Manchester United fans here. You're not going to get a rash. You're going to have beautiful weather on the beach. Nah, stay in the UK, you flog.
Is Dino's good? Jordan is going to watch Onana. I don't even think he's in the squad, is he?
No,
he's not in the squad. Yeah, and then we got And then he's got, all we'll see is Messi, you part-timer.
He's Messi. I always see my Messi jersey.
Yeah. When is Jordan going to the UK? Jordan's in the UK.
Anyone want this? Up for auction for free.
Jordan will be in the UK for the Liverpool game. So he'll be there. He's going to Liverpool and Brentford game. So
I'm in the UK from the 20th of April to the 18th of April to the 9th of May, I think it is.
He may have to change his flight,
Well, I have. We changed it. We literally signed everything this morning to change it over. Yeah, it costs a lot more money. It's unreal. I love it. It's been a great week. Thanks so much for this, Adam.
It all started with Hinney, but Tom went and sorted Hinney. He says he sorted that out, which is good. And Dino, I'm sure he may have messaged you, but thank you, Tom, for getting that signed picture for Dino's niece as well. It was great. So she'll be very well happy with that. So, all right, boys, thank you for coming on. An hour 15. I know we try and keep it down, but we just chat. It's really good. So
I want to shout out Pluck Off in the comments. I'll definitely catch up with you when I'm over there for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be good. There's a lot of people that'll want to catch up with you. You'll be surprised, Jordan, when you get there at Old Trafford. People will come up to you and may have seen you because it happened to me last time I was there. So it's good. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. We're trying to bring pods as much as possible. I will still be throwing out reels. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Jordan. We'll talk to you later. See you later. Check you.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Thanks,
Bye.
Bryan.
Cantona. Gary Neville looking for his first goal for Manchester United, and what a time to get it!